it's Dawn of StampTillDawn.com and welcome to another Watercolor Wednesday. This week is super exciting because not only am I showing you another watercolor technique, but I get to introduce you to a brand new product that I just got. I think I got it in the mail yesterday. And that is our newly redesigned stamp pads from Close to My Heart. I am so excited about them. These are our original stamp pads that we had. And as you can see, they're much smaller, and you have to kind of pull them to open and then twist them and set them back into their top. And they're great stamp pads, and they're raised and have wonderful ink. But some people, especially people with arthritis and stuff, often had difficulties getting them open. And so Close to My Heart listened to us, and they went to the drawing table and they got them redesigned, and I couldn't be more excited about what they came out with. So first of all, you can see that they are larger. So if you have an existing supply of these stamp pads and maybe our old stamp pad holder, then you can see this stamp pad is not going to fit in the new stamp pad holder. So you might keep your current supply in those, and then when our organizing system gets in stock, which hopefully will be soon, you can purchase our new organizer to put the new stamp pads in. The stamp pads are magnetic, so I don't know if you can see that on it, but it's like they're trying to grab each other there. The stamp pad is on the top, so it's automatically facing down, which brings the ink to the surface of the pad. So then you just lift it off, and you can see it comes completely apart, and then they go back together, and it's magnetic. So there's no latches, nothing to really work on, nothing that will break, and they'll just stay like that forever, because magnets, unless they get demagnetized somehow, I've never had that happen. And then they all stick together. Super sleek design. I find myself picking them up over and over. But what does that have to do with Watercolor Wednesday, right? Well, here's the thing. I love using my stamp pads as a watercolor palette, and so to use our old pads, we kind of had to have them open like this on the table, and that got a little bit cumbersome. But as soon as I saw these, I'm like, oh, doesn't that look like a little palette? And you can see it's got a little bit of ink on there. If it didn't have any ink, you could just squeeze it a little bit to get some ink on there. And then you can take your paintbrush, move a few things out of the way here, and your little palette that you've got, wet your paintbrush, go in the ink, and then boom, you have watercolor. The cool thing, I noticed this, I tried to do this video once before. I always have to do a second take. Someday I should show you the funny outtakes I end up with. But the first time I did it, I used one of my water brushes, which I totally love, and there's no reason why you can't use it. But what happened is I noticed that that's a tiny one. I want this one. It's a little bit fatter so you can see that the ink is so intense in here that I just kept going and going and going and going, and the ink wasn't coming off, and I was having to really work to get all the ink out of it. And so this is great if you're wanting look how intense that color was right there. Nice and dark. So it's just super fun. You can add more water to it. You can just squeeze it into there. Add more water to make it lighter. So gorgeous. So I don't want to leave you with that being your only Watercolor Wednesday, so I thought I'd show you something else too. One of the cool things that you can do is if you wet your paper ahead of time, so let's make sure my brush is clean here, and you say I only want the paint to be right here in the middle. I don't want it to go out to the sides. So what I'll do is I'll wet just a circle right here in the middle. This has a lot of different applications, but just to be real brief here, I'm going to show you this. Then you pick up your color and you touch it to the wet part, and it's just going to stay right there in the wet part. Isn't that cool? So I can even go to another color. Let's do pansy. I think pansy's going to look super pretty with this. So let me get some pansy here. And I'll do the same thing. Wet it. Get some ink on here and just touch it. And so it's going to stay right where I already wet the paper. So you can experiment with it, and you can try doing like lettering and just wet it there. We'll go back and put some more of this other color in here. Too fun. So that's a bonus technique. It's a twofer on Watercolor Wednesday. 1, you learn to use your stamp pads as a paint palette. And 2, you learned how to kind of keep the color into a focused area. So this could be good like if you wanted to leave a white border around it, or if you wanted to do like lettering. Let's see if I can do that. We'll just test it right here in front of you. Let's see. We'll do hi, and then put my ink on there. Pretty cool, right? So there you go. So that's it for Watercolor Wednesday and Stamp Till Dawn. I'll see you next week.